Are you wondering how to deal with sibling rivalry in your home? Apparently quite a few of you are, because we've had that request. Let's take that on today. It's pretty normal for kids to get into rivalries and to argue and contend with each other a bit. I mean, that's part of development, right? We've been parents for a while, we know this. When it gets out of hand, it can be really aggravating. Let's start with establishing a family culture around 3 important rules. And I like to keep it really simple, because if you have a gazillion family rules, your kids are always going to find something that wasn't on the list, right? So let's keep it simple so that it's easy to remember, and let's keep it general enough that it's going to cover everything that we're concerned about. And I like to base these around respect. So rule number 1, respect yourself and others. Do you see how this is going to tie into the sibling rivalry issues? And the rivalry is not so much the problem as the disrespect that comes out as a result of it. So rule number 1 is to respect yourself and others. Rule number 2 is also about respect, but it has to do with property. Respect property. Stuff. This is what belongs to other people or to yourself. Respecting property includes taking good care of your own stuff. You can see how this relates to sibling rivalry as well, as these kids start to learn to respect each other's property. Now, rule number 3, you're really going to like as a parent. Cooperate and obey. There's a little difference between cooperating and obeying. Cooperation, you should cooperate with anyone really who's asking you to do something that's right and reasonable. Who should you obey? Well, as a parent, you know the answer to that, right? They should obey me as a parent. Yes, why? Because you have authority over them. And the obey part of this rule has to do with obeying anyone who has appropriate authority over you. So this will include the law, the police, the courts. See, they have authority. But it might also include teachers, instructors, coaches. So there's a little difference between cooperate and obey. Both are important. There's our 3 rules. Respect yourself and others, respect property, cooperate, and obey. I'm starting with this because as we establish a family culture around those 3 rules, everything that's going south in the sibling rivalry department is probably covered by one of those rules. That way we can always call back to the rules when our kids are struggling with some of the behaviors. Here's another tip that's going to help with sibling rivalry. Avoid comparisons and celebrate the differences. It's really common for parents to point out, oh, Jimmy's better than Bobby at that. Or, you know what? Alicia does this a whole lot better than Allie does. Those comparisons tend to breed the kinds of thinking that get kids into those sibling rivalries. So instead of that, we celebrate the differences. And as you see what one of your children does well, compliment and celebrate that without any comparison to the other kids. And then with the other kids, you identify what they do well. Do you see where we're going with this? Celebrate the differences, avoid the comparisons. Now here's another great tip that works really well for sibling rivalry and contention and fighting. And it has to do with service. There's a lot of really great psychological reasons that I could share with you why service helps, why it's important. In a sibling rivalry kind of a situation, the focus tends to be on comparison and on competition. When we can shift the mindset over to service, it activates a whole different part of the brain, and different behaviors come out as a result. So something you might try, I've done this with a couple of kids in my own family, but also kids that I've worked with. I give an assignment to be a secret server, okay? Or a secret agent, or whatever you want to call it. But they're going to keep it hush-hush. They're not going to publicize it or let other people know that it's happening. It's just between you and this child. As you give them a challenge to somehow serve that sibling, the one that they're having the contention with, somehow serve that sibling and then come back to you and report on that service. Try not to get caught. Kids really enjoy this because, well, there's that secretive element and that's kind of exciting, right? It's adventurous. But what I love about the service experiment is the way that it changes the thinking. You know what? You can try this too. If you've got someone that you've got a little bit of a grudge or a beef or some kind of a grievance with, try this for 5 days. Try to find some secret way to serve them, maybe without them even knowing it, because that part's not as important. What it changes is your own mind. And I think you'll see this happening with your kids too. Sibling rivalry is only one of the things that we get to deal with as parents. Vicki and I have teamed up to create the Parenting Powerup. You can link to it right over there or down in the description, parentingpowerup.com. Will you click on that and join us? As you engage in this program, you get to be a more confident parent with all of the tools that you need to help those little kids.